At this time, I'd like to open up the St. Clair Board of Aldermen meeting for November 17th, 2025. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Francis absent. Alderman Boyer.
Here.
Administrator Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Gilbert.
Here.
Attorney Moss.
Here.
Alderman Sanders.
Here.
Alderman Shelton.
Here.
Would you rise for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first we have the consent agenda consisting of the council report, the Board of Aldermen minutes from November 3rd, 2025, excuse me, and the budget workshop minutes from November 4th, 2025. I believe that was October 5th, isn't it? The budget workshop.
What's the thing?
It was.
It was. It's correct on the.
Yep. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, so new business. We have the 2024 audit report presentation from Kristen DeLuca. Is that
That's
correct?
right. Yes, thank you.
I'll turn it over to Mike here.
So, as you guys know, I came in September of '24, so this was a trying audit for Kristen. I thank her for her patience with our staff, but she's done a wonderful job. I feel like we've worked well with her, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to her and let her kind of give you guys the summary of the audit.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It is so hard to go through an audit of a period you weren't responsible for. So they did a great job finding their way through it, and we ended up with a good product. So I think everybody has a PDF copy, but this is sometimes easier just to see things lay out a little bit better. It is 30 pages. We have a lot of other stuff to do tonight, so I'm going to go really quickly, just kind of give you an idea of what's in here. If you have questions, holler. But otherwise, you can always email me anytime or give me a call, okay? If you'll turn into page 1, you'll find the independent auditor's report. The city received what we call an unmodified opinion. That means that after performing the audit procedures, I feel that these financials are fairly stated. Okay, that's the best opinion you can get. Those statements get started on page 5. This is the statement of net position. Shows you your assets, liabilities, and net position for the city as a whole. It's separated between your governmental and your business type activities, but the column on the far right is the city as a whole. So looking at that total column, at the end of 2024, the city had total assets of $27.4 million. Next, you had liabilities of $5.8 million, leaving you with a net position of $21.5. Okay. The next statement on pages 6 and 7. This is the statement of activities. It shows you your revenues and expenses for the city as a whole. It's separated between governmental and business type activities, but it goes a step further. And on the far left, you'll see it broken down by function or department. Excuse me. And that the idea is to show you how each department functions on its own before we add in general revenues. Okay, it's laid out differently than all the others, but that's the idea. If you look on there on page 7, the third line from the bottom, this is what everybody wants to know. This is the change in that position for the year. This shows you that your governmental activities had an increase of $921,000, and business type activities also had an increase of $266,000. Now, the next few statements are what we call the fund financial statements. They're going to take that information and they'll break it down even further. So if you look at statements 3 and 4, you'll see your governmental funds, your general fund, your street improvements, things like that. It all goes back to that same information. This just gives you more detail. Okay? Statements 5 and 6. break down your business type activities. You guys only have the one fund, you have a water and sewer fund. So this is pretty much the same information, it's just giving you a little more detail on the water and sewer fund, okay? Statement 7 is a little different, it's on page 14. This is the statement of cash flows. You're only required to prepare this for your business type activities. You're not going to find this for general or anything like that. But this shows you which activities provided cash and which used it during the year. Okay? I do want to show you this near the middle of the page, just below. You'll see a line that says net increase or decrease in cash for the year. That says 4.8 million, an increase. That is because you issued your certificates of participation near the end of 2024, so you had funds available but hadn't used them yet for your project. Okay, so that's unusual, and I just wanted to make that clear, okay? Starting on page 15 are the notes to the financial statements. These are required to be included with your audit report. They explain the financial statements, they give you more detail on some of the significant balances. Are very dry to read, I understand, but there is some useful information in there. So if you're looking for something in particular, you might use that as a resource. The very back of your binder, there are 2 loose letters. The first one is a communication that I'm required to give to the board at the end of the audit. And the idea is it starts a conversation between us. If I had trouble getting documents that I requested, if we disagreed on how certain transactions should be recorded, things like that. When you read this later, you'll see there were no such issues. All of those things went very smoothly. Okay? The second letter is what we call the report on internal controls and compliance. I only had one issue that we needed to discuss. It's on the very last page there, and it's regarding significant transactions that were not posted to the general ledger. So during 2024, we had a couple of the smaller bank accounts and then the issuance of the certificates of participation that weren't included in the general ledger. Mike's on it, he's getting it fixed. Some of those things were tracked manually outside of the system. We just need to get all of it in the general ledger, okay? So this is just a reminder that we need to do that, and that will help with decision making and ensuring compliance with federal and state requirements. Okay? That's not as fast as I can do that. Do you guys have any questions for me tonight? It was a very clean audit. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with everyone. And if you have questions later, like I said, my contact info is in here. Don't hesitate.
One comment I will make, I believe we're under contract with Kristen for, is it 2 more years?
Or 3.
2 or 3 more years. So consistency in your auditor is always a good thing. So this is Kristen's second audit with us. So, you know, she's going to see those things hopefully get cleaner once she sees a year that Megan and I basically did all our own. So, and we're already discussing with Kristen ways to get all of the cash accounts she mentioned into the general ledger so that that's all nice and concise in one location. So thank you so much, Kristen.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, next is amending ordinance number 2195, adopting the 2025 annual budget. Administrator Wilkie.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, members of the board. This is basically what we went through at the budget workshop. There was one thing that Jason and I had couldn't remember why we had done what we had done, and that was with the contractual services in street improvements. So it's near the bottom. If you're looking at the front page there, it's near the bottom where we've got $76,000 in as the budget increase versus a budget of $2,500. That went up because of the easement contract that we approved at the last meeting, and then of course we have to rent a street sweeper, as we talked about. So the plan is that we are going to use that street sweeper all throughout the month of November, and maybe even into the beginning of December at this point a little bit, and then we're not going to worry worry about that over the winter because it's just gonna be snowy and everything, and hopefully our street sweeper is back up and running by the time we need it in the early spring. So that's the plan for that. All these other budget amendments, if you have any questions about them, I'm happy to answer them, but these were all went through when we went through line by line at the budget workshop. I do recommend approval.
I would like to introduce bill number 2025-47 for first and second reading by title only.
And ordinance of the city of St. Clair, Missouri, amending ordinance number 2195, adopting the 2025 annual operating budget, transfer of funds for necessary expenditures. Second reading, an ordinance of the city of St. Clair, Missouri, amending ordinance number 2195, adopting the 2025 annual operating budget, transfer of funds for necessary expenditures.
I move to approve bill number 2025-47 as read. I'll second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderman Sanders,
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Motion carries. Bill number 2025-47 becomes ordinance number 2242. Next is amending chapter 24, the water and sewer pretreatment. Administrator Lopez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and members of the board. Anytime we go out for our wastewater license renewal, they always look at our pretreatment ordinances. One of the things that this board knows very well is recently we've really had to rely heavily on consultants to help us with pretreatment to make sure that we are following all the regulations. So this pretreatment ordinance was reviewed by this board back in the spring, and at that time we told you we were going to take it to DNR for approval. We have DNR approval. That letter is in here. So we've got that letter saying that DNR has approved. It's the one that's got the Missouri Department of Natural Resources right at the top. So this is basically the same thing we brought to you earlier in the year that will take place, that will take effect on January 1, 2026, and essentially allows us to recoup some of our expenses when we have industrial waste running through our sewer system, and we're allowed to now pass some of that, some of those costs on to those industries that are operating in our city, and this was completely and totally approved by the Department of Natural Resources as the letter you see there. I do recommend approval. If you have any detailed questions, I'm going to throw Jason under the bus and make him answer those questions, but otherwise we're good to go.
I'd like to introduce bill number 2025-48 for first and second reading by title only.
First reading, an ordinance amending certain provisions, chapter 24, water and sewer of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Clair to revise pretreatment regulations. Second reading, an ordinance amending certain provisions, chapter 24, water and sewer of the Code of Ordinances of the City of St. Clair to revise pretreatment regulations.
I move to approve bill number 2025-48 as read.
I'll second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Gilbert,
Aye.
Alderman Sanders.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Bill number 2025-48 becomes ordinance number 2243. Next, we have the memorandum with the St. Clair R13 School District performing Arts Center, the emergency storm shelter. Administrator Wilkie.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. So over the last month or so, we've been meeting with Melissa and Casey, superintendent, and the assistant superintendent for the school district on a couple of different things. This is the first thing that we're working on with them. So there were some questions, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay this out so that everybody understands it. So first of all, this is only a storm shelter. This is not a warming center. This is not a place where we can use to get water. The only time this will ever be used is if we have a natural disaster basically a tornado or very high winds coming through town, and we have to make an announcement that we have a storm shelters available. Now this, the gym is the other storm shelter that we have, that we use. This would be a supplement to that. We also have access to several churches. Some of the things that were hung up on this are, how is this gonna work? Are we gonna be required to have some of our nice young new officers that we're going to swear in here in a little while babysit this place? And the answer is no. Our job will be to open the facility, and that can be opened by either one of our officers or possibly by city staff. We have our emergency manager on staff, or it could be opened by one of their staff. If officers are not busy, which I'm just gonna go ahead and say it up front so everybody understands. In a disaster, all of our officers are going to be extremely busy, so it's very unlikely that they would be able to stay there and babysit. So it will sometimes be unmanned. The school district is aware of this. The school district has already voted on this. They've already approved it, so they understand what they're getting into here. And then at the end of that disaster, as soon as time permits, our officers or our emergency management or a member of their staff will lock up the building. So then I think the other question, and we did get some really good questions from some board members on this, the other good question was, what about the liability? Who's responsible for paying for damage? Let's say that we have an officer going there and then he's got to leave because if something happened and somebody spray paints something on the side of the performing arts studio inside. Well, that's on the school. That's on their insurance. Their building is insured through their insurance carrier. It's insured in such a way where their insurance understands that it's being used as a storm shelter. So any damage related to the storm or any damage related to property damage or graffiti or something like that, that's not on any of us. The simple fact of the matter is that hopefully we never have to use this facility. But if we do, we're gonna advertise it and we're gonna make it available to the public in hopes that it will provide a safe space for them during the storm. So, do recommend approval. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll introduce bill number 2025-49 for first and second reading by title only.
First reading, an ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Clair, Missouri, authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to enter into and execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of St. Clair, Missouri and the St. Clair R13 School District for public use of the high school performing arts center as an emergency storm shelter. Second reading, an ordinance of the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Clair, Missouri, authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to enter into and execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of St. Clair, Missouri and the St. Clair R13 School District for public use of the high school performing arts center as an emergency storm shelter.
I move to approve Bill 2025-49 is read.
I'll second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Dorr.
Aye.
Alderman Salem.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
Bill number 2025-49 becomes ordinance number 2244. Next, we have the Officer Tuition Reimbursement Payment Program. Administrator Wilkie.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. How appropriate it is that we're doing this on this very day when we're swearing in 5 new officers. How about that? That can't be a coincidence. So this is part of our plan to incentivize officers staying with us. Getting officers on board and giving them some incentive to stay with us. And so what this will do is over a 3-year period, if they stay with us all 3 years, they will get a third of their tuition back up to $8,000 for any police academy with approved by the Missouri Department of Public Safety. So anyone that is accredited in the state basically can be used. And this will be done at the end of each year. It'll just be added onto their normal paycheck. And then at the end of the third year, they'll get their final payment. We give them one payment, 1/3 payment every year, as in hopes that it incentivizes new hires to stay with us, learn with us, and then stay with us even longer. So that's the plan. This is something that we've talked about. We talked about this at the budget workshop. We talked about this in strategic planning. I do recommend approval. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I would like to introduce bill number 2025-50 for first and second reading by title only.
First reading, an ordinance of the city of St. Clair establishing a police officer tuition reimbursement payment program. Second reading, an ordinance of the city of St. Clair establishing a police officer tuition reimbursement payment program.
I move to approve bill number 2025-50 as read.
I second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Fairley.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
Okay. Bill number 2025-50 becomes ordinance number 2245. Attorney Voss,
Nothing, Mayor.
Administrator Wiltie,
Nothing tonight, sir.
Public Works, Jason.
Just let the board know Cartwell Avenue is pretty much done except for sodding. They finished the paving last Wednesday or Thursday. So that project is pretty much wrapped up and our construction's kind of winding down for this year. We started replacing about 300 feet of bad sewer line over on Cynthia, between Cynthia and Bardo from 1200 to 1240 Cynthia. So hopefully we'll be done with that in a week or two. And that's going to help with the flow over there and with some issues that we had with taps to houses. So
Thank you. Chief Sykes.
David, did you guys make it? As you all will know, I'm here to present 4 officers that have graduated the academy. I have a Jeffrey Maddock, a Michael Chance, Laura Ortiz, and a Kevin Smith will present you guys for our plans again. Have your
Better than you did last time, Chief.
a little faster than this one. forward to these new officers.
Welcome aboard, guys. And gals.
Building department, Craig?
Nothing there.
Park advisory board, Alderman Salem?
I have nothing except a reminder of our next meeting Tuesday, November 25th.
Okay. Lucas isn't here, administrator Welty?
Yeah, Lucas is on vacation right now. I will tell you that both Lucas and I are attending the next park board meeting to go over final budget changes right before the board meeting, where we hopefully approve the budget on 12/1, which will be the next meeting. So that's all, sir.
Thank you. Board members?
I'd just like to say I've gotten a lot of compliments on downtown. I wish Lucas were here and on the streets, so I just want to commend our department heads for a great job, and we're moving forward, and it looks really nice.
I do have a comment. Obviously, we're missing one of our aldermen tonight. I think we're all pretty aware of the situation. So I would just like to encourage everyone to just remember Alderman Sykes in your thoughts and prayers. I'm sure the family would appreciate that. So. Any public participation? All right, so our next regular meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 1st at 7 p.m. Need a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.